Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. Hope you're all doing good today. So we have a special project. We're going to do a little bit of a shop project, something a little different, something that I've been wanting to make for a long time in my shop, and I'm just wondering if anybody guessed what we might be making with this stuff. If you saw the thumbnail, we got a 6-inch PVC pipe that's a little bit short, and we got a pretty long 1.5-inch PVC pipe. So let me know if you guys know what we're making. Let me know in the comments. So we're back from Arizona. It was a phenomenal weekend. Turner's Warehouse put on an amazing event. There was just amazing people there. I'm pretty good friends with most of the demonstrators, so we just had it was like a party. And I think the most fun part was getting to meet a lot of people. Tons of people came out. Paul was there, and a few other people that Gene was there, a few other people from the streams and from Patreon, and I got to meet a lot of people. It was pretty cool. So I got to do a couple of one-on-one classes. Those were extremely fun. I went way over time on those, but I was having such a good time. I was like, I don't really care. And nobody needed the room. So that was fun. I did a demo that hopefully you guys saw. I do apologize. I was terrible at sharing anything. I didn't share anything literally the whole weekend on social media. But I was like, I'd get to Turner's Warehouse and then I had the one-on-one, and that went till like lunch, and then I had to eat. Then I needed to take a little bit of a break, so I'd take a little walk kind of down the street just to kind of get my back in order. And then there was demonstrations, and I just totally did not do anything on social media. So I apologize for that. Usually Gretchen goes with me, and she kind of helps out with the, getting videos and different kind of stuff of what was going on. But Turner's Warehouse did a fabulous job. So make sure to follow them on Instagram, Facebook, all over the place, YouTube Shorts as well. They really do a good job, but they got a whole team of people that are doing stuff. So anyway, it was pretty cool. I have a couple of stickers. One thing I wanted to point out, Turner's Warehouse has a new shirt. Hopefully I'm on screen. Yeah, get kind of close to the camera. They got a new shirt out. It's such a cool design. I love it. And I also got a sticker from them, and these are available on their website. So we're going to put some stickers up. I also got a sticker from CDR Woodworking. That's Charlie. Met him at the event, so we're going to put a sticker there. And I don't think that I've done this one yet. For anybody that isn't aware of or hasn't heard of the Wood Whisperer, if you're at all interested in just general woodworking, Mark Spagnolo, he's the Wood Whisperer. They moved to Missouri, and he bought a firehouse, and he's converting that, or he has converted that into his workshop at this point. And so I was kind of helping out. They had kind of a little bit of a fundraiser. I'm a firehouse figured. So we'll put those stickers up in a second here. Let me stop and see if anybody figured out what the project is. No, we're not doing a bowl. It's a shop project, like something I'm going to use in the shop. A butter churn, a Thor hammer, a cake stand. I like that. That's funny. All right, I'll let you guys keep guessing a little bit. It's utilitarian, let's say. How about that? It's just going to be kind of a simple utilitarian thing. What else can I mention? I swear I had other things to talk about. Let's do the stickers while I'm sitting here thinking about things. Oh man, the snow this winter. Oh my God, guys, this winter is about to kill me. We have gotten so much snow. So I have been shoveling for 2 days straight, and the people that we rent from, they're out of town. They're on a 5-acre property, so I have been hand shoveling a gigantic driveway in the back side where we park, in their driveway. Oh my God. And they're like, whatever. And then the shop, I get here and it's just nuts. And Gretchen she had to go to San Diego. Things have just been kind of crazy this week. And I've been like trying to catch back up on inventories and stuff. So Gretchen had to go to San Diego. She took her car in to get an oil change, and they're like, oh, you got a fuel leak. That's a pretty big deal. So of course, this is like 3 days before she had to leave. Then Blizzard 2023 comes, and so the parts couldn't come. So then she had to like wait another day, went with someone else, and they literally drove into a blizzard. Like they had to turn around and go somewhere else. I don't know how long their trip was in a car, but it was like, I don't know, 15 hours or something like that. And they couldn't really stop anywhere because they had to get to the thing. Oh man, I feel so bad for her. So let me switch cameras. Let's see here. Alan! Yeah, oh man, I kept missing you. We kept kind of meeting up in between stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm on my way to do stuff. So I apologize for not kind of spending a little bit more time with you. I meant to, but things get crazy at these events sometimes. But I appreciate you coming out. It was really great meeting you. Let's see here. Did anybody handle a better fun cup? A dust collector. Stand for a camera. That's a good one. A bowling ball. Resin plunger. I love that. There's a problem with Turner's Warehouse. Too much to buy. Oh man. I'm telling you guys, if you ever get the chance, if you're ever in Phoenix, you have got to go there. It is just, it's a wonderland. They have everything. I mean, you guys know what's on the website, but it's just like 10 times better when you're like in there, and there's like lathes everywhere, and there's resin casting supplies and stabilizing and knife making and rings and pen kits and pen blanks, and you're just like, oh my God, this is my Graceland. So looks like Dominic picked I am so exhausted today from shoveling all morning. I shoveled literally for 2.5 hours straight this morning, and it was about the same yesterday morning too. So I'm kind of exhausted already. But yeah, so a paper towel holder. So I have I'm not going to go over there, but I have a paper towel roll that I use with the 3D printing, and it's just hanging out on the thing. And you know, when you're like your hands are all like goopy and stuff, you don't really want to grab the thing. So I want to get a heavy paper towel roll. And so it's going to be pretty simple. So we're just going to make the base out of this, drill a 1.5 inch hole in the middle, and we're going to put the thing down in it. It should be kind of fun. It should be pretty simple. It'll be a fun turning project. Very easy. I don't really, to be honest, I don't even think I'm going to turn the like stem thing, the thing that holds it. Because I want it to be 1.5, maybe a little bit, but I could possibly even get away with not even turning that part and just glue it in. We'll have to kind of see what the dimensions are. The other thing is I don't want to turn it down too far because I just want to use a 1.5 inch Forstner bit to sink that in. So we'll have to see what it is in the end. Should be pretty cool. Yeah, snowblower. We need a tractor, actually. I mean, this property's huge. And I really wish that, you know, everybody else in the neighborhood like has a tractor, pretty much. We're in kind of a rural area, so it's, oh man, it's been horrible. It's good. It's like a love-hate thing with this winter because I love it for the snowboarding aspects of it. It's awesome. We need the moisture in the ground, so the snowpack's going to be great. But I mean, there's been snow on the ground in the valleys, this is unheard of, since November, like late November. It's crazy. It is, I've never seen it. Like, basically, we're getting as much snow as like, maybe not as much, but it feels like about as much snow as like what Tahoe gets. And I can't even imagine if I was living in Tahoe right now, because it would be terrible. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm even going to round the top necessarily of this. Maybe chamfer it or something like that, but I was actually kind of thinking of like flat, but we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll get things done and see what the design is going to be. All right, so I'm going to switch cameras. We're going to put some stickers up, and then we're going to get going on these castings. So if you would like to help design this, I have to be honest, I haven't even had time to think about what I'm going to do with this thing. So it would be awesome if you guys help out. But if you want to get in on the colors for either one, go ahead and super chat, and we will use the colors that you guys pick. It'll be kind of fun. You guys, and I don't know if it'll show up. It'll probably show up in videos. I need to get some videos done on 3D printing someday. It's just been, man, this year's been crazy. So let's see. Let me switch to this view. There we go. I'm going to put them on this pot. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of wipe this thing down with a little bit of alcohol just to make sure there's no dust or anything else on it. Let me go get some alcohol. Oh, and my back is just pretty much done. I didn't like throw it out or anything, but the muscles from the top to bottom of my back are angry with me, let's say. I'm not sure where I'm going to put all these things, so I'll just wipe off some of these areas. I might put some on the back side here. Got room here. Oh, got some room on the inside here. Okay. So we got that cleaned up. I love this new, let's see if I can get in front of it. That is awesome. I need to turn the volume down. Ooh, people are all in on this. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm trying to turn my volume down on my computer. It's ridiculous. 14 karat nugget. There are other colors, you know. Oh man. One thing that was really awesome at that event in Turner's Warehouse was Elise and I did kind of a little collab fun casting thing so on Sunday we all just kind of hung out. The event was over, and Elise and I did a little casting together. Can you guys see kind of? I'm gonna put that there. And so what we did, we were trying to think of something that would be like kind of cool, a little bit of a commemorative for the weekend and all, you know, trying to think of all these things. And what we came up with, this was Elise's idea, was to have everybody there, all the demonstrators and people that were hanging out and all that, have everybody pick a color and we'll just make some blanks using all of them. So it was pretty cool. We each got, you know, we mixed up all the resin and we each got 4 colors, and so we both were pouring the blanks. It was pretty fun. We had a good time. I'm sure Turner's Warehouse has video of us doing it. You know, obviously I was doing it, so I couldn't get video. I did get a video and posted of the demolding, and they turned out really awesome. So, pretty cool. I was super bummed I didn't get to sit in on Jim. So I was doing the one-on-ones when Jim was doing the bespoke, you know, like kitless pen demos. So I didn't, why do they get these stickers that don't, I need to get a little knife. So I was a little bit bummed that I didn't get to see that, because that's one thing that I'm interested in getting into, but I'm not really ready to really dive into that stuff yet, so. Oh, good Lord. There we go. Got it. Broke the seal. Okay. Put the firehouse, we'll put that over here. It's a little bit, because I want to save space for like resin and viewers and stuff. All right. We got some stickers up. We're rocking. Where does one get stickers made? That's a good question. I get mine from, oh man, where do I get them? What is it called? I just went totally blank. Sticker Mule. And they're really good. Now, they're kind of expensive. There's cheaper ones out there, but I'll tell you what, Sticker Mule makes excellent stickers. What the heck is going on here? Just go home. Stickermule.com. So I'll put a link if you want to check it out. Hey, there's Nikki. How's it going? Yeah, I really like it. Just some of them, I don't know. And you can even just print your own on your own printer. You just buy the sticker like sheet label things. But if you want them to be kind of easy to peel and look excellent, be, you know, like basically like, I think they're like waterproof. They're like vinyl. Sticker Mule is a really good one. There's other ones, like I said, out there. You see your sticker? There it is. Yep. Tim's here. So Tim, actually, I still haven't had a chance to do a video, and I don't have a I don't have anything in a mold right now to show you. But Real quick, so Tim was having trouble demolding the blanks out of one of these, and I don't think it matters, you know, if it was this one specifically or if you were using the P-Town subby or maybe your own homemade ones. But you know, the way that I usually demold these, there's no way to get these things out like by hand really. So one thing you can do, I don't do it myself. You can spray these with mold release. Chad does it. I just don't find it necessary, and I don't have any problems demolding them. So, but what I do is I just kind of peel. Well, first thing I'm going to do is try and like peel off the top, like stretch it to kind of break the seal, you know, between the blank and the mold. And then what I do is I just grab and I have a long handle or long stemmed thing. This is an air blow gun. And you just want to get air, you just want to get that thing, shoot air down into the hole, and it'll just pop, it should just pop them out. Now, if they're not fully cured, if they're still kind of, I'm not going to say like sticky, but like if they're not fully cured, you know, I'm using alumilite clear slow. It's about 67, 68 degrees in the shop right now. And, you know, in 2 to 3 hours, you know, leaving them in the pot, then demolding them, I should be able to pull them out and without any problem. But one thing I do recommend is, it's not a bad idea if you don't want them shooting to the ceiling. Get a glove that's like, these are actually like cut resistant gloves. You could just use probably like the leather kind of work gloves, but cover your hand, because the tops of these things, if they're shooting out and if you're trying to kind of cover them, or even if you are just peeling back and got your finger in there, it can slice you. So I usually recommend, you know, or you could even use like paper towels or something, just cover the blank up, but you should be able to, they should fly right out, you know. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully that kind of helped. I'm going to do like a video. It's going to be basically the same information, but maybe with some, you know, close-up shots of it. Okay, so what else am I doing here? Is that it? I think that's it. All right. So first things first, what I'm going to do, I have a mold. Did I forget something? Oh, it works good now. Okay, good. Good. And you already sold them. Nice. That's cool. Sorry, let me scroll up real quick. Emerald green. Okay, so yeah, I knew we were missing a color. Let me write down these colors so I don't forget. Let's see here. We got David wants emerald green. So I'm writing down some notes here real quick. I'm going to put the date 25. Jeez. Just getting crazy. 225. So we're doing the paper towel holder. Might even make another one. If this goes all right, I think I might make one for our house too, because we have this metal one, but it just slides around on the counter and it's really silly. One thing I'm going to do, one thing I want is the weight. The resin's going to be a lot heavier than, you know, most paper towel holders that you can buy probably, that are just plastic or even metal. So the weight is going to be important, but I'm also going to put those little, well, I need to kind of look into this, but I want to put a pad on the bottom that's kind of like a non-stick, you know, type thing, or non-skid, so that it kind of stays in place when you're, because I like to just grab a paper towel and pull it off. That's the way it goes, right? So let's see, we got emerald green. We got Yamagata. That's a good one. I think I got enough. Blurple with starlight. Nice. That'll be cool. Uh, 14 karat. All right, I think that's all the colors we got here. So Kid Cooper was asking, or said I should cast my own resin snowboard. Actually, I can make a snowboard. That was a project that I'd like to do. The problem is there's all these projects I'd like to do, but they take a lot of time, a lot of money, and that like there's just no recouping that. Like my content side of things don't pay the bills. So products pay the bills for me. And so it's kind of tough to do some of these bigger projects like that because it's going to cost hundreds of dollars. But I really want to make my own snowboard, and I'll probably just make like a powder board, which doesn't need to be anything special, just kind of dimensions wise, but you can literally make your own snowboard, and you're using epoxy and just kind of layering up. It's almost kind of like fiberglassing in a sense. So it's pretty cool. Someday. Let's see here. Let me scroll down. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm pretty... Yeah, like a drawer liner. I have some of that stuff, I think. Actually, I do have some of that stuff over there. I might get new ones because it's kind of old. That could work. I'm also thinking about maybe if I can find like feet kind of things, like actual feet, not just little sticky pads that have that on them. I'm going to look around a little bit. It may come down to whatever I have on hand, but I can also wait. I don't need to get that, part done right away. Tempting to clean the shop, nice. I need to do that too. Velour vinyl, nice. I'll look into that too. Oh, we need all kinds of colors. It's up to you guys. If you want to get in on that, you can get some colors going. The length. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Sorry, Tim. Cork gasket, yeah. Yeah, so I'll look into all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we got the colors down. So what I wanted to mention is, so we have a little 6-inch PVC pipe. Obviously, somehow we need to contain the resin in here. So what I'm going to do is I have a piece of, this is just melamine. You could use HDPE for this. It would work. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you another option as well. I'm just going to hot glue this down, and it should work. So I put a bead down, and you can see I traced the outline of this. So I'm going to put a bead of glue all the way down, and then smush this down into it so that I have glue on the bottom of the pipe. And then after that, I'm going to come back, once it's kind of, secured, I'm going to come back, and then I'm actually going to put a bead of glue around the outside bottom, because you don't want this stuff leaking out, and hot glue is a lot cheaper than resin, and it'll save you some time. Now, another thing you could do, and I've used this in the past, is you can get these like drain plug things. They're just like rubber. They work, but the problem is, I don't know if you can see, it's like there's like a bump in the middle. It's like the center of this thing is raised up, and so it's not a big deal, but it's kind of a pain. The top would be flat, so you could mount your blank that way, and it would be fairly easy to do that, but you're going to have to kind of deal with that if you wanted the bottom to be the bottom, basically, So it is another idea, and it's non-stick. It worked, but I think that you're better off just going with hot glue. So it's just kind of simple, but it did, it didn't leak or anything like that. It worked fine, and it was just, all you got to do is just, tighten it, screw it down. So let me get some hot glue sticks ready. Whew. Oh. I'm telling you, the shoveling is killing me. Let me move this camera back because it's really not in the right spot. Oh man. Things are falling. Hold on a minute. Zoom out. There we go. Okay. Tim's in hot freaking pink. We got a good hot pink. Actually, so I'm going to ask you. I'm going to let you do the input on this. I'll give you a couple of choices. Rose red is a really good color. Pretty good hot pink. And I'll show you the picture of that on the overhead. Chris is here. How's it going? Okay, so overhead, here's the rose red. This is a P-Town subby. And it's pretty darn hot pink. I don't know if the color is really coming through, but you can kind of see in the cap, that's what you're looking at. It is pretty hot pink. And then there's also fluorescent. We could just put fluorescent pink in, and it would be kind of translucent. We don't even have to add any powder. So either way, hopefully there's, these fluorescent dyes, like, I don't know if they like dry out or what. Something goes on with these things. I think you can maybe add a little bit of Part A, just add a few drops or something like that to try and, like, I don't know, moisten it, whatever. But it just, they seem to do that. So let me know which one you want to go with on that. Oh, and I did some backcountry snowboarding the other day. That was, it was a hot mess. I lost one of my baskets on one of my poles too, like halfway up the mountain. So that made it really difficult. The pole just went, 3 feet into the ground. Lime freaking green. So let me know, Tim, which of these you liked. The rose red, or if you want to go with just the fluorescent pink dye, and it'll be kind of like, no mica. It'll just be like kind of a hot pink color in there. One other thing that I want to do, I need to pick up some, I guess this will work. One thing that helps with pours like this is to put something where the resin can kind of drip down. You guys, most of you guys watch Jake's channel. He does that a lot, where that way the resin doesn't just blob. It kind of rolls down. So I guess I'll use that stick. I need to get the fluorescent dye. Okay. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's kind of the way that I was thinking too. I like that. Whew. All right, so the hot glue gun is pretty much ready. And then of course we can just use the Turner's Warehouse plugs. And if you don't know, these things are the greatest things. If you are wanting to, or if you do cast in PVC, these plugs are amazing. Now they don't have one for a 6-inch pipe, but they do have them for 4-inch. That's the biggest, but man, these things are awesome. So actually I'm gonna go off camera real quick and I'm gonna spray some mold release into this. I actually already gave it 1 coat, but I thought I would do kind of a 2-coat thing. This is a brand new pipe. Sometimes the first time you use a PVC pipe, it can be a little sticky, a little tough to demold, especially with your 3/4 inch. Usually, I've never had anything, especially using alumilite clear or clear slow. I've never had anything stick in a 1.5 inch PVC pipe, but the 3/4 inch ones, if you don't give it a good amount, a good dollop of mold release right off the bat on that first one, sometimes it can be pretty tough. So can you guys see what's happening here? So I'm going to lay down a bead of glue right here, and so that mark was on the outside of the pipe, so not a huge deal, but I'm going on the inside of it. And this is a time when you don't want to be stingy with the hot glue. Put a good bead down, because you don't want, what you do not want is this thing to leak. It's just going to be a mess in your pressure pot, and you're going to waste a lot of resin. This is going to be 1,000 grams. So this is no laughing matter, you really don't want to. And so what I'm going to do is kind of push it down and then kind of move it around. And what we've done, this probably is good enough, but like I said, I'm not particularly interested in wasting 1,000 grams of resin. So what we're going to do is come back and put a bead of glue all the way around the outside. That way, if there was one area under there that maybe the glue didn't really, I don't know, there's a little gap or something. And it does, I'll tell you what, it doesn't happen that often, but it has happened to me. So that's when I started saying, okay, I am going to seal the heck out of these things, because it's just not fun when you open the pressure pot and you got a giant the bottom of the pressure pot's all resin. Okay, that's done. That's a super easy way to, make a mold. And you can get PVC pipes in all kinds of sizes. I mean, they got, I think, 4, 5, 6. Some of these may be a little bit harder, like a 5-inch pipe is kind of harder. The 6-inch, you should be able to find it. This is like sewer drain pipe. You can get this at Home Depot. Obviously 4-inch PVC pipe is very typical. But I mean, you can even get like, 8-inch, I don't know, all kinds of sizes. So if you need something specific, PVC is a good one. PVC is a good option if you need to get, like, you want a 6-inch specifically, like you need a specific size. Another way to go, though, is pretty simple, easy mold is just using a mixing cup, and that's going to be like 3 or something. These two are a little bit different size, so you're going to have to measure that bottom to see what size it is. But like your 2.5 quart, that's a pretty good blank, and that would have been pretty close. But I did want to go for the full 6-inch because I measured the paper towel rolls and they start off at 6. So, but I could have easily just used one of these. This would have been easily close enough. However, the thing is, the sides of these cups are not straight up and down. That's kind of the advantage of a PVC pipe. But you could even go with a 5 quart, if you need a pretty big bottom, big cylinder. So there's lots of options for molds, and that's just scratching the surface. Okay, so we have our molds ready. I'm going to do a little test real quick and see if this, I don't want to find out that this die doesn't work or that it's like crusty. Yeah, 1,000 grams is a lot. Yep. That's going to cost you, especially for just the stupid paper towel holder. Again, hot glue, cheap. Well, I mean, realistically, the pressure pots are Teflon lined, so I mean, it should pop out. It kind of depends. If you dumped 1,000 grams in the bottom of your pressure pot, though, you might have a pretty tough time getting it out. All right, so I think it's okay. Like I said, these fluorescents, I would highly recommend. I would not recommend buying bigger than an ounce, the smallest one, and I wouldn't recommend having this on hand until you need it, or I don't know. It's kind of tough because you want to be able to pull it out, but just be aware that these things can kind of, I don't know what the deal is with these fluorescents, but they kind of dry out a little bit. Like I said, I think you might be able to just add a little bit of the part A of your resin that you're going to be using, but make sure that you're using, make sure you're not mixing resins, but add a little part A and that'll kind of moisten it up if it does. It's something you can try. I don't know for sure if that's going to fix the problem or not, but it should help. Okay, so let's see here. I have no fear of heat cracks at all. Alumilite Clear Slow is meant to be poured in gigantic amounts like this. Now, if you're using just a random epoxy, or I should say most just general epoxies are not going to be able to handle this much. But that's one of the big reasons why I use Alumilite Clear Slow, because you can pour, I mean, especially with the temperatures right now, like if it was 85 in the shop, well, I'd still pour this and not be worried about cracks. But, if it's 85 in the shop, you're a little bit limited. But if it's only 68, I mean, you can pour buckets. I would not even flinch at casting 5 quarts all at once. With Alumilite Clear Slow, you should be fine. So we're just gonna jump in. It should be pretty good. Okay, so I think we're ready to go, guys. Who's ready for some casting? I know we've been kind of talking, and Oh, woodcraft. Another source that you can look if you can't find alumilite clear or clear slow buckets. Yeah, and if you really need to pour a lot in, a 5-gallon bucket, that'll get you a really big blank. What was I saying? Another source is Turntex. One thing to think about when it comes to Turntex. So, alumilite's out right now, that you can't get it, or I don't know for sure, but if they're like out of inventory, the thing is, Turntex buys so much because they're like the biggest distributor in the U.S. They buy so much of it that alumilite could be out, but like their order for Turntex is gigantic. So sometimes Turntex may still have inventory. So it's good to look either way. And if you're close to Turntex, I would probably recommend just buy it from them. It's fresh, good resin. They go through it a lot. Like they move a lot of inventory, so it's a good source. And if you're fairly close, like the nice thing is alumilite's in Michigan. So when I buy it from them, it has to come across the country, right? From Michigan to Nevada. That's a pretty far trip. If you're closer to Texas, which is nice, Texas is kind of in the middle. So, if you're in the southern states, if you're kind of California, Arizona, Utah, like New Mexico, if you're kind of in that zone, you're going to get it really fast too. So just something to think about. Turntex is a good source for that. Okay. And if you need, a lot of times, you can just look at Turner's Warehouse too, because they sometimes have inventory where other people don't. So Turner's Warehouse is going to be good, and they ship really quick. The only thing is, if you ordered like the big ones, which I don't know how much inventory they have right now, but like if you buy the Carboys, they're going to get it from Turntex anyway, so you probably may as well just buy it from Turntex. I don't know. I don't want to, take sales from Chad and Turner's Warehouse, but they don't have them on hand anyway, so it's going to come from there. So, those three are the best sources for alumilite clear for sure. So, all right, we'll go to this view. Let me make sure I have a pressure pot ready to go. One thing also, I've never cast this before. I'm not worried about it particularly. Actually, two things. I need to spray this with mold release. But what I want to do, and I'm going to switch to this other, that's not what I want. Hold on a minute. This view. What I want to do is I want to do a dry run. I've never used this mold, and I want to, thinking about how you're going to get this in the pressure pot is not a good idea after you've poured the resin in it, right? So, which I've done before. We've all done it. So either way, and I'm going to put this, one thing that's nice, I have these little pieces of HDPE, and I use those for, molds. I stick my mold on that, pour it in, and then I can get my fingers under it and just pick it up. It's just a little bit harder sometimes to pick up a mold straight off the table, all right? So when I'm pouring, I'm going to put this thing on there. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to pick it up and just drop it in here. That's no problem at all. I also want to look at, I may go with this pot because I really like this pot. So again, I got resin. You got to think it's going to be a little bit heavier. It's not going to fit. See? That won't go in there. So if you've got, the CA Technologies pots are a little bit wider than the California Air Tools. Now, it's not a big deal. I can just lop off these corners and it'll fit fine, but I don't need to do that because I got a pressure pot that it'll fit in, no problem. So make sure to do a dry run before you start casting with a new mold. Now, another thing to think about actually is this, yeah. So I'm gonna have to use my 5-gallon pot for this one because it's too tall to fit in here. All right, so always good to think about these things before you have resin in them. That is not the time to think about these things. And I have a little thing here that'll kind of hold this up and so it doesn't tip in the pot. So that's good. Another thing good thing to think about. Okay, so Turntex, yeah. That's where you get the cactus juice from too. they make cactus juice. Okay, so let's do this one first. Let's do the big one. Let's just dive right into this. All right, so number one, the base. It's like I said, I measured about 1,000 grams is going to get me about a 2-inch blank, something like that, 2-inch tall or so, I think. And the way that I calculated that, there's an online thing on Alumilite's website, but you just take the pi r squared, you know, so like the 3.14 times 3 squared times the height of the blank, which was 2. And then the multiplier is 0.554. That converts it for resin. And then I multiply it by about 30, which is about the conversion from fluid ounces to grams. All right, or ounce, whatever, ounces to grams. So around 1,000 grams. So that's going to be 500 times 2. We're using alumilite clear slow. Again, if you're going to be pouring a gigantic amount of resin, make sure your resin can handle being poured all at once like that. There's only a few, like even deep pour could be a little bit sketchy for something like that. No, it's 2 inches, so you should be fine with like deep pour, those types of epoxies. But probably I would not recommend pouring a 2-inch deep blank like this, 6 inches, with like Amazing Clear Cast or Clear Cast Plus or Liquid Diamonds or most of your other tabletop epoxies. Make sure it can handle large amounts. Okay, and then we're just gonna, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had one more color. What was the other one? A green. Hold on a minute. Hold on, I gotta look. Lime freaking green. Okay, so we got if you want, okay, so I gotta ask onomatopoeia, do you want to go with the fluorescent green dye, or one of my favorites, lime, is apple green from Pearl-Ex. I love this color. We could go mica, or we could go with the dye. So let me know. Let me know what we got here. Apple green, okay. Let me get all my colors out here. So that's everybody, right? That super chatted? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, you can also convert. Yeah, and if you're, I've kind of done that with, it's not exact because we're not dealing with water. The specific gravity of resin is not the same as water. All right, so you can, but at the same time you can kind of just convert from, like, if you're doing a resin that's like a volume measurement, you can pretty much just convert it back and forth and it'll be pretty close. I would overestimate doing that, you know, just to make sure you don't short yourself, but it should kind of work. All right, so what were the other colors? We got 14 karat, we got emerald green, we got, let's see here, where's the emerald? Where's the emerald green? Oh, I know, I already. We got eye candy emerald, there we go. Eye candy emerald. We got Yamagata. That is the greatest red ever. Yamagata. We got hot pink. I'm going to put this green dye away. We got Blurple with Starlight. Where's the 14 karat? 14 karat nugget. Gold. And then we got some Blurple here. Let's see here. There we go. And Starlight. Where's my Starlight? There it is. Okay. And I got links to the PVC pipe, the clear PVC pipes that you can get at, you're probably not going to get one this tall, but if you need pipes and plugs, the links are down in the description. Okay, yeah, 1, 2, pink. Got everything? 2, 4, 6 colors. All right, so 1,000 grams divided by 6. Oops, that's not what I want. 6. So each color is going to get about 165 grams. All right, let's do this. We got plenty of time. I'm not worried about that. Let's see. That bucket's dirty. There's a clean bucket. That should make sure that your bucket can hold the amount of resin that you're going to put in there. Turner's Warehouse was out of the 32-ounce cups, mixing cups, which is pretty much exactly what I needed every single time to mix it all. And so I was using these smaller ones. And the first time I used it, I was like, oh, that was way too much resin in this cup. I could barely even stir it. But that's good. The people were buying the good cups. They weren't buying the junky ones. Oh, and I got a tip from Elise, just in case. I think the paint mixing cups are probably cheaper, but depending, the deli cups, these are deli cups, which, you know, food comes in these a lot of times. You may get like takeout or like from the deli, and they're pretty good cups. There's no ridges. There's a little bit of a bump in the bottom here, but smooth cup. It should be non-stick, and so I thought I'd try it out. So she told me about these, and I bought a pack. You can, like I said, just clean up, reuse stuff if you get like takeout in them, though. So, you know, either way you want to go, that could be a really cheap mold. All right, so 500 grams of part A. I zeroed the scale out already. I need to spray the mold really quickly. $499.5. Oh, there we go. 500 even. Ooh, look at that, guys. Zero that. Like I said, I'm gonna go off camera real quick, and I'm gonna spray the heck out of this thing with Stoner. One thing that would have been kind of fun, but I didn't have time to get anything prepared, is maybe like putting something in here. And another cool thing, if you're gonna do this, I'm gonna go way over here somewhere. Where am I going? If you're gonna make a paper towel holder, another cool thing is you could do a multi-layer pour and like suspend objects in this, which I think would be a really cool one, like a really cool project to do, you know? Mold release. Like I said, usually the larger molds don't tend to be very problematic with releasing blanks, but still, we don't want to run into a problem, right? Better buy a lottery ticket. Yep. Submarines are so cool. All right, Chris, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. All right, 500 grams of part B. Another tip that Elise shared with me. This is the coolest, so I'm going to stop and talk about, this is one of the coolest things ever. So Elise took a resin casting class with me years ago, and now I'm learning stuff from her. Isn't that awesome? Like, that's what I love about, you know, doing this kind of stuff, is you can kind of help, you know, someone else get going, and then once they get going, then they go on their own path, and they're bringing you all kinds of cool stuff. So it's just awesome, the resin casting and like just the maker community in general. But so one thing that I've wanted for a long time to find, and I just for some reason have never been able to find what I was looking for, is a smaller paddle mixer. right? So this thing, you know, this works great in a giant cup. I could, you know, I don't need to use this necessarily, but you could use this to mix in a big cup like this. But what do you use for a Dixie cup? If you need, you know, that's not going to work. And the reason that I would want one, you know, because obviously smaller cups, you don't generally need to use a paddle mixer. However, there are a lot of mica powders out there that are super clumpy, that take forever to stir up. One of them, just right off some of the eye candy, like the UFO green and the Firebird red, these things are just ridiculously clumpy, and they are terrible to mix in. Another one is micro pearl or sheed A, whatever. They're the same thing, but they're very clumpy. It's like powdered sugar, pretty much. So I've been looking for something that would work as a paddle mixer, and they make. She gave me a link to, and they're just on Amazon, which is kind of crazy. Couldn't find them though. Let's see. That's not really gonna work. Dang it! I need another. Will this work? Yeah. Okay. But they're like the same type of paddle mixer thing, but they're just smaller and they fit in cups. So those are on the way. The weather that we're having up here has kind of jacked up a lot of my recent purchases. Yeah, so somebody recommended a, what are these things? A spade bit. This does not work. I tried this. It doesn't even mix it up. You need to have holes in it and stuff. But I'm super excited. Like I said, the ones that Elise showed me, they're the same type where they're like fins. They're meant to mix up liquids, you know, things. So I got that. It's going to be in my bag of tricks. Can't wait to share them. They're pretty cheap and on Amazon. Yeah, Turntex, because they make the chambers out of that PVC, but they only have 4-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch, I think. So just to let you know. I don't know why they would have other sizes. No, so you can go to flexpvc.com. I'm not going to lie, it's super ridiculously expensive, but they will cut it to any length you want. Another place that has pretty cheap PVC, you're going to have to buy the longer lengths. But for especially like the clear, is Granger. Way cheaper, like way cheaper. If you want to buy a lot of 3/4 inch PVC pipes for, you know, vertical casting or something, or, you know, whatever, you are going to have to buy the longer lengths of it. But if you can just go pick it up, you don't pay shipping, number one, but the price is so much cheaper than anywhere else online that, you know, I'm going to start buying it from them. I didn't realize they carried it. I'm just going to make sure this is mixed up nice and good. I am going to have to mix in, you know, into the cups. Now, one thing I want to mention is I'm not going to leave the last color in this gigantic cup, because it's going to end up being a very thin amount spread out, and it's not going to heat up as quick. So I probably should have added a little bit more resin, because I'm going to leave some on the inside of this bucket, but it'll be okay if it's a little under 2 inches. So 165. I'm just going to measure one and then just kind of dump the rest. Just want to kind of get an idea of what 165 looks like. I don't care if these are perfect or not. Perfectly even. It really makes no difference. So let's get some stuff out of the way so that I can actually work here. See what I'm doing, you know? Okay. One thing also that you can do, so, you know, I've got there's more resin in this cup, and no matter how long I sit here and scrape the edge, I'm never going to get it all out. But one thing you can do is just put your cup kind of upside down and it'll just drip. Now it's just going to be clear, but it'll just be on the bottom and it'll add some extra, you know, volume basically to my blank. Okay, we need some emerald green. I'm just going to wing it on this. I don't care, you know, about the colors. It doesn't need to be, you know, opaque or anything like that. So I'm actually going to go for like less color than I normally would. We don't need a ton of mica powder in this thing. Actually, I'm going to put that one in there. I'm going to need a stick for each cup. So, and I might adjust these a little bit, but when you're dealing with pen blanks, you're going to turn that thing down so thin that you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of color left, basically, when you're done. I'm gonna load up the 14 karat. Now this is probably going to sink to the bottom because 14 karat nugget is my least favorite mica powder on the planet. I'm pretty sure. Just, well, I don't know. I guess we are going to wait till the end of the working time. We'll have to see how this goes. But I've found that it sinks pretty well. And then for our hot pink, we just need a little bit of, that ought to be good. A little bit in there. See how, man, so look at that. Talk about hot pink. Woo! Hot freaking pink. I love it. And let's see, Yamagata. Looking good. What are we missing here? I feel like, oh, blurple. And the blurple. Okay. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Here we go. Blurple. So the way that I do it, I'm gonna add a little bit more. And then I'm gonna add some of this starlight glitter. And the blue to purple color shift powder and the starlight glitter as well as micro starlight glitter. So the micro, for anybody that doesn't know, is like the super tiny specks of little holographic awesomeness. I got all three of those guys on my website, and there's also a bundle pack that's much cheaper if you're going to get all three of them anyway. So check that out on the website. Those are my favorite. I really like, the reason I started carrying it, the color shift powder, because there's like no margin on that stuff, and it makes no sense to, I'm not making barely any money on it, you know. There's a little profit, but the only reason was I wanted to buy it in larger quantities to get it a little cheaper, because those color shift powders are super expensive. So I'm just dropping a little tiny bit of the violet alumilite dye in here, and that's how we get the killer blurple mixture. I love this color. And it shifts depending on how the light's hitting it. So on round surfaces, you know, like curved surfaces and stuff, which this thing's probably gonna, I'm not gonna put a lot of curves into it, but at the same time, depending on how the light's hitting it, it looks either purple or blue. And then we added the starlight, and that just makes it awesome. If I tried using the tubes that Easy would, yeah, those, I was actually thinking about doing that. The problem I had on this project, again, I was saying if you need like rigid, like the dimensions and everything are important, PVC pipe is awesome because it's square, it's not going to move. But yeah, those the tubes that the Easy Wood tools come in are good molds, but they're not like particularly round necessarily, like especially for something really long like that. So that's a good point to bring up. You can use molds, you know, like there's so many things out there that you can just reuse as a mold. A lot of times, I mean, those, I would imagine that the Easy Wood tools tubes are probably you could probably reuse them too, I would imagine. I don't know, but it's so thin that you can just cut it off and it's not a big deal. But I would imagine you can probably reuse it as well. All that emerald. Looking good. And then the lime. Put the lime in the coconut. Broom's here, what's up? Yeah, 3/4 isn't perfect. So the 1.5 is pretty much dead on. That's a good point. So always measure your stuff, but I mean, more like if you need the dimensionality and like, you know, square sides and all that kind of stuff, like I was saying, that's where, compared to certain other things, you know, like these buckets, they're not square and they're not going to be like really necessarily close to 6 inches or whatever. All right, so let's see what temperature we're at. I'm going to wait until probably 95 to 100, maybe like 97 I might wait for. We'll have to kind of see. And again, I'm going to kind of pour it down this stick so that it's not just dumping into the bottom of the mold. That's a bit of a drop, and that amount of like force, you know, pouring the resin in like that, it just mixes things up a lot more. So we'll get kind of a little bit better swirl, I think, if we can. And you can even move it around and do different areas. It's kind of cool. But it'll kind of drip over the edges and just make it a little bit cooler. I gotta be honest, I didn't look for that email, Brian. Sorry about that. I get home and I forget. I remember that. I don't know exactly what you were. I'm thinking maybe I read it and I was like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Like, I don't think I can do that. I don't know if that was my reaction. That might have been part of the reason. Like, I was like, I don't think I can make that happen. Wow, this stick is really short. All right, so just waiting on the resin now. We're pretty close though. It was like 87 degrees or so. Another 10 degrees. I'm gonna wipe off the mixing stick. And actually, what I can do also is you can put multiple sticks, and that'll be even more fun. Well, yeah, maybe just resend it. That might be a lot easier. Yeah, these greens are good. You guys picked good green colors. This one's the emerald green from Eye Candy. It's a beautiful one. This one's apple green from Pearl X, one of my favorites by far. Yamagata red, one of my favorites. 14 karat nugget, least favorite mica powder on the planet. I hope it comes out this time. Sometimes I just don't like things because they don't work for me as well as I'd like them to. It's a cool thing, but it seems like I don't tend to get very good results with it. 95.5, 96. So we're almost there. I'm gonna wait till like 97 or so. Okay, I think we're there. And I'm going to do kind of a few rounds of this. It'd be a lot cooler if this wasn't just running right into the edge, but I don't really have any other way to keep these sticks kind of like propped up, you know. So we're getting what we get. You can move the sticks around a little bit if you want, like try different, slightly different things going on. Part of the thing about doing like kind of multiple pours like this is, you know, I'm starting at 97 degrees, but by the time we get to the end, it's going to be hotter. So as we go, it'll kind of thicken up even more. Just something to think about. But the other thing to think about with this is it's also, you know, it's taking a lot more time. So factor your pour temperature when you're going to pour. Make sure that you're not picking a temperature where it's gonna, the resin's gonna be like setting up on you, you know, the second or third round of pouring the color in. I think I want to, yeah, I want to add a good amount in there on that one. This is looking pretty cool. So I'm going to actually do that. Move these sticks around. I don't know how much that's going to change things, but should give us a different look than if we just left them in one position. I'm also, every time I move the sticks, I'm kind of moving things around. I'm going to empty the gold. Hopefully we get a big blob of that. I think I'm going to empty the rest of these. These are starting to thicken up a little bit, so get things kind of rolling here. I think I'm actually going to pop the sticks out. Because we're not pouring down into the bottom of this thing anymore. And I don't think, and the resin's pretty thick at this point, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. One other thing to think about, you know, I'm wiping off resin off these sticks, so we lost a few more grams. Of resin by doing that. It looks like it's starting to kind of, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't know. Ooh, that's thick. And then I am going to give it just a little bit of a swirl. All right, and into, I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of running up against the clock a little bit here, I think. I'm just going to pop this in. I'm not going to switch cameras though. Gloves are all resiny. And we'll take this up to 60. Technically this pot's set to go to 70 psi, but as long as you're over like 40, you're good to go. All right, one down. Let me get some fresh gloves on here. So what did you guys think of that? I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. And get myself a new paper towel holder. I don't even have an old one technically, so I don't know. Yeah, jeans. So I would recommend if you're going to do like a micarta type thing or fabrics and stuff, I would probably go with a slower setting resin so it absorbs as much as possible. I would, honestly, if you're doing layering like that, I would actually just go with deep pour. You got 2 hours of working time, and probably even more technically. But it's so much easier when you're not hustling to get everything kind of put together and all that stuff. And like I said, even if you're just kind of putting denim in, you're going to get more absorption into the material if it's a slower setting type of deal. So just a couple of notes that might help out a little bit. Just gonna clean off. I got drips all over the place and I don't want to stick my hand in the drips or anything else. I got my brand new Turner's Warehouse patch shirt on. I don't want to get it all over the brand new shirt, It's the worst. Okay. Now we got a big tube. Let's see here. Yeah, you could just like put it on the tube also. So probably about 2-inch base is that's what I was shooting for. It might be a little bit under that. I probably could have overshot it, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. I don't think it really matters that much. I do want something thick. I'm going for heavy, but this is also kind of just an experiment. A little bit. I mean, I need a paper towel holder in the shop, and so I think regardless of how thick the base is or how things really turn out, it should be a super simple project. I mean, I could literally just drill a hole in the top, glue in the thing we're going to make right now, and it would work as is without even turning it. So I can't imagine that I'm going to make it worse by turning it, I guess, hopefully. So it should be a pretty simple thing, but what I'm kind of doing is seeing how it works, see how I like it in the shop, because it doesn't really matter that much out here as long as it just holds the paper towels there and doesn't move around on me. That's all I'm going for. But I'll probably there may be some refinements that I'm like, maybe the base is too wide, and next time 5-inch is like better for some reason. I don't know. Things like that. Like there may be like dimensions of things or how they work that I find out by using this here, and then I do want to make another one for our house. So hopefully it'll all work. Oh yeah, UV resin would work too. That's a good idea. You can add a little bit of color and/or mica to UV, but sparingly, because it needs the light transmission to cure. All right, so the next one, let's see here. I'm kind of thinking, guys, that I want to go for just totally transparent. Like a color, but totally transparent. I'm kind of thinking like, I'm thinking fluorescent green dye, and it'll be see-through on this. What do you guys think about that? I think that'll be kind of cool. So we'll just add a little bit of fluorescent green dye, and we'll be good to go, I think. It'll just be kind of interesting to have that. It's going to be hidden the whole time anyway. I mean, most of this thing really is going to be kind of hidden by the paper towels anyway, but I think it'll be kind of cool to have this kind of crazy neon thing that you can also see through. So let's just go for that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Number 2. Oh, and I think I wrote down, yeah. So I'm going to mix up 400 grams. I think that might be a little bit much, a little bit overshooting, but we have Happy Fun Cups sitting there waiting for us. So, what do you call that? I'm just going to call it the rod. And so we're going to mix up 400 grams. Let's see, I also need to put, let's see, we did a 6-inch PVC pipe. And slow set clear. So in my notes, I'm writing down all these notes so that I can make sure. Now it's on video, so that's fine, but I don't really want to have to go back to the video just to find out what I did on certain things, or like what mold I used. So in my notes, I'm going to put what mold, what resin, how much resin, what colors, and how much, which I can go back right now. I didn't really measure the mica powders, but small scoops of each. That's good enough. Now, on this one, let's see. Now, in your notebook, though, if let's say that you ran into some weird issue while you were casting, make sure to note that. And then it's really good if you can, this is the hardest part, all right? It's real easy to write down a thing and then, do the casting. The hardest part is coming back if there was any problems, or I mean, even like after you turned it, if you didn't like the way things looked, or who knows what, to come back to your notebook and add notes about how it all turned out. That's very important. I'm terrible at doing that, I'm going to be honest, but I try to whenever I can. All right, so we're using slow set clear again, so that's 200 times 2, 400 grams total. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the fluorescent green dye. And I'm going to try to kind of get an idea in the cup. I'm just going to add a little bit and then a little bit, and just kind of, I want it to be kind of like I want the color to be there, but I also want it to be fairly see-through. So, Burl Blurple Starlight Resin Black. Oh, okay. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, cool. I don't. Maybe I didn't see it. I don't know. Maybe at my. I don't know if the fluorescent glows. Does it? Does stuff glow? I didn't even know that. Under a black light? Do I have anything that's fluorescent? Any blanks? Ooh, I do. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't think I have anything that's just strictly fluorescent. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, no, that's got mica powder in it. It might screw it up. We'll have to check this out. We'll have to see it. I don't know if technically, I don't know if I have I don't know. I guess those UV lights are black lights. I don't know. We'll have to test it if we can. That'll be cool. Okay, so overhead cam, fluorescent and transparent. Those are two kind of transparent. Well, so transparent is see-through. That transparent versus opaque. Opaque would be you can't see through it, so transparent is see-through. Fluorescent is just super bright. I don't know. It's like neon kind of. I don't know. I'm not sure. Try the one with the, yeah, well, like it doesn't glow. So in fluorescent is not glow in the dark either. So that's why I'm like, I don't know about this. Black light. I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna. I have to shut the lights off. Are these black lights? What is a black light exactly? I think These are just UV lights, so I don't even know if this would work anyway. Let's see. I'm going to turn the lights off. It's not going to be totally dark because I can't shut all the lights off in the shop, but maybe we'll get kind of an idea. Oh yeah, I would say it probably kind of does. Hopefully I won't run into something while I'm walking back. Yeah, I would say that it... Let's turn the... Let's switch cameras. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera. Right there. I mean, it seems to be. I don't know. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah, well, just looking at the bottle, I would say that it's hard to... It seems to be kind of glowy like that, like the black light glowiness. That's interesting. Why don't they market it that way? That's ridiculous. If I had fluorescent stuff that fluoresced in black lights, I would tell people that it does that as a feature. Well, cool. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, the 60, heck yeah. Glow paint. That's cool. No, I totally do remember that, but this isn't fluorescent paint, or I don't know. It's different. I didn't think about it that way. Okay, so we need 400. We need a cup. Oh, my back is killing me. No more shoveling. Well, that sucks. I got dye all over my hand. Okay. Getting a new glove out. Did I just... Yeah, I'm just going to toss that cup. Hold on. I got to find a cup here, guys. There we go. Popping it out. Reusable. That one came out real nice. Okay. We are ready to go. Zero the scale. I don't use these fluorescents that often, so I don't know. We'll have to kind of see. Hopefully I'll get the amount right. So again, 200 grams. I think it's going to be over. This thing only needs to be about, well, I guess I need to hold the blank. So I might fill it up. We'll have to see how. I really only want, oh, I went way over. Shoot. Okay, well, I can't really pour that back because that cup was... So we're going to make 460. We're definitely going to have extra. 230, another 230. Pay attention when you're pouring, guys. And don't pour it back in the cup, or I mean in the jug, if you're using like a reused, unless it's like a brand new cup. I would not recommend dumping it back into your jug because you could contaminate the whole thing if there's dye or something weird in there. All right, here we go. Body shaped outline. That's funny. Nothing. Yeah, no, it's not like a glow. It's not going to glow during the daylight. Yeah. Alumilite opaque pigments. What are their opaque pigments? Not sure what those are. Blood splatter, yeah. That sounds really complicated, Richard. Gotta be honest. I'm just gonna do it this way. Plus, I kind of want to turn the thing, and do a little bit of work on it. but making a base and then drilling a hole in it, that's, and gluing the thing in is pretty simple. Tim's got all the answers. He's like a engineering or physics textbook. Oh, because he did copy. That's funny. There are people out there that pretty much give textbook definitions on things, though. Yeah, find it in the dark. That's fun. Yeah, I know. I don't want to fright. I don't even want to know about what's going on in the hotel room. Yeah. Gross. No thanks. You know. I already am a little bit of a germaphobe, but like I can kind of like ignore it, you know, usually. So like, yeah, I don't, it's just not a good idea for me to actually find out. All right, so I'm just gonna add a drop. This thing is like bubbling, so there we go. Because I want to see what this looks like, basically. Like I said, I really do want this to be transparent. I think we can add more though. So one drop, let's do another drop. We got plenty of time to mess with this and dial it in to how I want this to look. It is going to be a little bit thinner, you know, just being 1.5 inch, but I think you can get a pretty good idea just looking in the cup. Now, for pen blanks, you can't really utilize what it looks like in the cup to figure out what it's going to look like on a pen blank, or you know, on a pen. Looks like I got a little bit of the glitter in there. I just don't want one random strand of red glitter. I don't need that. So for pen blanks, the way to kind of get an idea is to pull it out. So like this looks pretty green, right, in this cup. But then if I pull this out on a stick, it looks totally clear. So that's more accurate. That's a more accurate, you know, representation of what the pen is going to look like. Is you're going to drill out the center of that blank, and then you're going to turn it down to very thin. And so just kind of pulling the stick out. So that's how I check to see for how opaque, you know, how much mica powder I need to put in, and kind of get an idea of what the color's actually going to kind of look like in the end. So I don't know, I think that's pretty good. It's kind of translucent. I don't want to add too much more because it's already starting to kind of get a little bit cloudy. Some of that is probably just due to the little micro air bubbles that I've, you know, mixed up and, you know, stirring it in. But I think we're good. So I think I put, what was that, 3 drops? I would say 3 drops is probably plenty. Okay. And there's no reason to wait for anything on this. The dye is not going to come out of solution or anything like that. Nothing's going to sink, nothing's going to float or anything like that. So into the tube we go. You guys can see, right? Yep. I'm going to go to the top on this. Like I said, I marked 10 inches, but for work holding and stuff, I just want to make sure that I have enough. That's pretty cool. I haven't made a blank like this before. And then, so this one's so tall, I need to go to the 5-gallon pressure pot. I think I can, oops, that's not what I want. Tilt that down, there we go. That was loud. And pop it in there, and we'll be good to go. Oh man, so while I was at Turner's Warehouse, I got to see that new, I don't know if you guys have seen it, California Air Tools has a new 10-gallon pressure pot, but it's super short and like wide. And I've seen, you know, Chad did a video. It is pretty massive. Like, I mean, I don't know how many, it's big. It's like this wide and like that tall. So it's kind of a crazy, like, I don't know how much they cost. And like, it doesn't look, I don't think it'd be particularly useful for most things that I do, but it's pretty cool looking. I'll tell you that. Okay. Come on. There we go. And again, up to 60 PSI or so. And then get our Happy Fun Cup out. The 5-gallon takes twice as long to fill as the 2.5. That's another reason why I don't really like it. I don't have to use it. That's good enough. All right. All right, and I'm going to be very careful and just kind of slide this back out of the way because I'm going to have to do some more casting in here. And I don't want to kick it or anything. I don't want that blank to tip on me. Let me fix that a little bit. And then switch to the overhead again. There we go. We got some green in there. Now we're going to see some bubbles on this one. I probably should have waited. I'm not going to waste a pressure pot on this, but it'll be a bubbly lime green in there in the Happy Fun Cup. I don't really want to, you know, like I could maybe open that pressure pot up again, but I don't really like doing that. The air bubbles will re-expand. And depending on how quickly you let the air out, they could get even bigger. So it's just, once it's in there, I'm kind of done. Now, one thing I can do though is it's pretty early. So what I can do is pop the surface bubbles and get some of this stuff out of here, you know. And I might even like wait a little bit and do that again as the air bubbles rise. But with alumilite clear slow, you're just really not going to get, there's like no way to get all the bubbles out by doing it that way. It's a resin that you really need to pressurize. Put that down. Clean off my stick here. See if we can't get some more of these bubbles. Kind of hard to get in there. I gotta turn this towards me so I can get in there. All right, so I'm going to scroll up real quick here. Yeah, I'm not playing, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to look at my hands under the light even. No thanks. Let's see here. Rain's here. How's it going? Steven, just finished your first 5 pours. Sweet. That's awesome. I'd say you're doing good. It's not that hard, you know, really. Especially if you kind of get some ideas, watch other people do it a few times. Resin casting is not too tough. The big thing is, I would say with resin casting, is there's a few things that you really just need to not do. You know, you know, that you need to watch out for or kind of know about. One of the biggest ones is like, on that first pour, we were doing the holder, and it was, you know, it was a pretty big mold. It was 1,000 grams, all poured at once. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get that. So there's lots of bubbles in there still. That's okay though. Not a big deal. The Happy Fun cups, whatever. I think they'll be okay. Air bubbles are not, you know, it depends on what you're going for. They're not going to hurt anything with a turning blank. It's just most people don't want to see air bubbles in their blanks or have them. But it shouldn't cause any actual like structural problems or anything like that. So that's why with the fun cups, I'm like, whatever, I don't care. But I don't want to waste. I usually forget to put it in with whatever I was casting, number one, or it's kind of like late. Like I don't want to. I would rather make sure that whatever I was trying to cast gets in there safe and sound, and I'm not messing around with some stupid Happy Fun cup and it causes me to screw something up. So I like to get those things in, but you know, if I remember, I can toss it in there if there's room. That's the other problem. But I don't want to use a pressure pot up just for that either, because I got other stuff. I got to make, you know, I got to make blanks for inventory. And so the Happy Fun cups are just happy and fun. We don't have to worry about them. Yeah, I use acetone usually for cleaning stuff up. You can use like a denatured or rubbing alcohol or isopropyl. Alcohol and acetone. I like acetone because it dries faster. So if I spill it or do anything, it's off the stick or off the surface quicker. So, and I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, aggressive or whatever than alcohol, but I use alcohol for certain things too sometimes. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. And like I said, I think that there are very few ways that I can really screw this up to the point where it doesn't work as a paper towel holder. I mean, it's a super simple project in my head, at least. I've never made one before, so we'll have to kind of see. But couple things about the project, you know, like the turning side of things. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just glue it to a glue block. I think that's the best way to go. I didn't, you know, there's really not enough room to you know, like, I don't know. I could go for like a mortise for work holding if I wanted to. That wouldn't be too bad. And then I could actually, you know, I'm not really losing any size of the blank, but I still think that it's easiest just to glue it onto a glue block, hold the glue block, and then I can do whatever, manipulate, turn, you know, and then part off the whole, you know, paper towel holder, the whole base. So that's usually the easiest way to go, rather than trying to figure out how to, you know, get the thing mounted on the lathe. Just use wood, which is pretty abundant usually for most people. And then, like I said, we'll have to kind of see. I need to get the measurement of that, the rod part. Maybe I'll do a little bit of turning, but I have a feeling that it's going to come out pretty close to 1.5 inch. And I'd like to just use a 1.5 inch Forstner bit, so I don't really want to chuck it up on the lathe and then take a bunch of material off. So I may just kind of leave it. The other thing, and this isn't the reason why I went with that lime green, but there's really no reason to turn it. I'm not going to expose any different colors or anything. Sometimes when you pour in a pipe, that the edges, you know, where the mold was basically, are not particularly pretty. But in this case, it doesn't matter. It's just, you know, whatever. It's going to be see-through and lime, you know, fluorescent green. So I might chuck it up and just kind of do a little shaping, you know, clean up the top a little bit or something like that, but not a lot. I'm not going to do much with it. So I don't know. Should be kind of a simple project. I'm hoping that it all works out. Yeah, pressure. Let's see, who was asking about it? Yeah, pressure's by far the easiest way. You put it in there, you get it up to pressure, and the bubbles are gone like immediately. A lot of people ask about vacuum, and that's not a good way to go in most cases for resins. It does the opposite. So pressure shrinks, basically collapse. It shrinks the bubble size to the point where it's like you can't see it, and vacuum does the exact opposite. It's going to expand bubbles. So you can imagine. Some people think that, like we've done experiments and things where when you put resin under vacuum, it starts bubbling up, and people think that it's like boiling or something like that, but it's not. It's just the air bubbles are expanding, and it creates a giant mess. So your resin doesn't just sit there. It foams up, then it collapses, and it's a much slower process. It's going to take a long time. So there's no way that you could use vacuum on the resin that I was using, because it's going to set up before it would actually pull the bubbles out. So pressure for most resin casting purposes is much easier, because it's not going to upset, it's not going to do anything like foam or make the resin move in any way. All it's doing is collapsing those air bubbles. So what you'll notice is all those air bubbles took up some space within the resin. So your level will go down just a little bit, just because it's missing all those little air bubble, volumes, let's say. Those are gone, so your level of the resin will go down, but it's not going to affect anything with your casting, so it works pretty well. It's very difficult to get all the bubbles out, even if you're using a super long resin, especially if you're doing trying to do mixed colors. Like, there's pretty much no way to do it, because you have to wait till the end to do the mixing for the colors to stay there. So, and I'm talking for like smaller things, but you can always start out doing it without pressure and trying to kind of mix slowly and do all that stuff. But I kind of recommend sooner the better. If you can get a pressure pot, you'll probably get easier and better results. So let's see here. Just looking real quick here. Yeah, you should be able to. So Sig was asking about the being able to just add black dye. You could do that. You might get kind of mixed results, because it may be kind of blotchy. I would recommend just painting the tubes in most cases. The other way you can go is paint the inside of the blank. If it's super transparent, that's the only. I wouldn't even recommend. I wouldn't mess around with. Well, if they're like transparent to the point where they're like clear or super transparent, you'll probably want to just paint the inside of the blank. I would even go for a painted tube matching that color, just in case something kind of peeled off while you're inserting the tube. But I don't know. You could try it. I think that painting the tube is probably going to be a better way to do it in general, but it might work. Depends on the blank too. So let's see here. I think that's all that I got today, guys. It's 4 o'clock. So a couple hours. It took a little while for me to get going on this thing, but I'm pretty excited about this. Like I said, this is something that I've wanted to make for a long time, and it's just we never have time to get the things that we want to make done. So next Saturday we'll turn these blanks up. Mainly the turning is going to be the base. I'm going to put some shaping on it. Not a lot. It's still just going to be pretty much. It's going to like the final shape is really just going to be a cylinder. But we'll clean up the face and the bottom. I'll probably put like some chamfers on it. Maybe one little thing. Do I have it here? I might put like a little accent groove kind of thing on the side. I wish I had the new beading tools, the carbide from Easy Wood Tools. That would be pretty fun to put those on the sides, but I don't have any of those yet. So maybe some grooves, just a few little things, polish it up, and then the base will be ready. And then, like I said, minor stuff on the rod, but it should be a pretty, we should be easily get the turning done and have a finished product. We just glue the thing in and we'll be done. So anyway, guys, really appreciate all the super chats. Glad to be back in the shop finally. It was a really good trip, but it's nice to be home, and always good to be back in the shop so we can do some live streams together. Let's see, is there links to some, the stuff that I used are down in the description of this video, and the replay will be up as well if you want to go back and watch this. We always leave these things up so that you can find them again. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening tonight. I will see you guys back in the shop next Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time, and we will turn up a paper towel holder. Should be pretty fun. So I'll talk to you guys then. Have a good night.